Hello and welcome to this edition of Pathos. My name is Suzanne Dowdy and we are here from the studio at Trinity TV. And as we go on in this series, which has just been so enlightening for me personally and for all of us, everybody who has viewed the previous programs, it is just so wonderful to see how many good people there are doing good things in our country. Too often we hear only about the negative things and the crime and the different things that are happening in the country, and we feel, people start to begin to feel hopeless and despairing. Is anybody doing anything that is good? And that's why on this program we try every week to do that, highlight good people doing good things and to give thanks to them and for the individuals and the organizations that are doing this. And so today we want to highlight an organization called the CREDO Foundation, CREDO, CREDO Foundation. We at Living Water Community have known about them for many, many years, but I know that a lot of you who will be looking at this program probably have never heard about them. The CREDO Drop-In and Residential Development Center. In 1994, the CREDO Foundation for Justice began an awareness creating program on the problem of children on the street. And in 1995, they began to work on the street as their response to that program. So I have three, maybe a fourth person will join us during the program, but I'll introduce you to who is here with us now. We have Ms. Dale Bartholomew, who is the administrator of CREDO. Then we have Ms. Anne-Marie Rodriguez, who is a coordinator. And we have Mr. Alwin Hunte, who is a program supervisor, caregiver, who usually works mostly in the evenings at CREDO. Alwin is involved in many organizations. We won't go into that today. We're talking about what he does with CREDO Foundation. So welcome to all of you. So I think we'll start with Ms. Dale Bartholomew. We'll call you Dale. And thank you for being here. And as administrator of the CREDO Foundation, maybe you could give us a little background to the history, the beginnings, why it was started, and what you do. And remember, as we're talking here, there are people looking on who have never heard about it. So things that might seem familiar to you, you can share, because people would not have heard about CREDO Foundation. So welcome. Dale, you hearing us?
Now hearing you.
Right,
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. So I don't know if you heard when I said that we need to really highlight the whole work, the history of the CREDO Foundation, because people viewing, both here in Trinidad and other Caribbean islands or wherever, North America, let's remember there are probably a lot of them who have never even heard of the CREDO Foundation. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and good morning for all persons who are viewing. CREDO was actually founded by the Holy Faith Sisters. They're called to look and try and help children who were basically on the street sleeping at that point in time and to get them away from gang violence. So it actually started with them doing walkabouts at the night time, and Mr. Alwin will be familiar with that as well too, where they would actually go to the different squares and get young persons, ages varying, and they would bring them back now, at least get them a hot meal, get them cleaned up. The problem, what they realized was that even when the children would come, eventually they would leave the following day and be back into the same situation. So years after, they created the live-in program, and it originally started by Marion House, and from there, and even with Duncan Street as well too, until they eventually had the program on Nelson Street. Unfortunately, about 15 years ago, Nelson Street, the original sign was destroyed by fire. And now we are back on Nelson Street again with the call to help children within our society. So we don't do any walkabouts on the street. However, we do have children coming to us from the authorities or from the court as needed. So it's a place of safety for boys and girls at this point in time.
Okay, I was just going to ask you that, if it was only boys or young men off the streets, what kind of age group are we looking at that you take in to live with you in residence?
We house children from the ages of 10 all the way up to 17 years old.
Okay. And of course, there's separate residences for the boys and for the girls, but in the same building?
No, not in the same building. So the boys' center, which has basically two features. It's the residential part where the boys live, and then we have a drop-in and outreach center, which deals with the East Port of Spain community. So that is on Nelson Street. And then we have our girls' center, which is Sophia House, up on Bath Street in Port of Spain.
Okay, so you have the two homes. Okay, so tell us a little bit. Okay, so what is a sort of, day-to-day experience in the homes?
Well, one of the things that we promote, we always teach our children through life skills. We don't use the word chores, it's life skills, and life skill goes into different areas. So you have them in the morning, they wake up, we have some sort of devotion that will take place with staff, and then they break off into their various areas where they go and, again, assist putting away the center because they're the ones that live here, and then they go to school. And we reinforce developmental. We are not a punitive environment. Yes, they will have consequences, be it either positive or negative, but we are developmental. Skills, the necessary skills to get them to independence, what we promote in the environment. So they learn a lot in terms of hygiene, in terms of personal self-development, self-esteem. Who am I as a young person? And we promote education. So all our children are currently in school, and they go to school in various locations within the country.
Okay. And how long have you yourself been connected to CREDO Foundation and to this ministry? How many years?
I have actually been at CREDO for the last 10 and a half years.
Wow, wow, wow. So you really are, this is something very dear to your heart.
It is, and Mr. Alwin will actually trump me because he's here from the inception. He was actually one of the first persons who used to do the walkabout with the sisters in the nighttime as a young person.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we better go to Mr. Alwin Hunte now. Welcome, Alwin, to the program. And you can share with us a little bit of how you got involved in this program, what drew you to it, and how it has impacted your life.
A pleasant morning, everybody, and to all your viewers. Are you all hearing me, right?
Yep.
Nice. So, I started as a young man, being in Living Water community from doing young adults group, and I came about with respect to our then priest, Father Jason Gordon, who is now our Archbishop, who saw me going around my Marian house and kicking ball. Those days I into a lot of football, and I got involved in playing a lot of sports to this young man, and he spoke to me and he asked me if I was interested in being a part of working with young men, because he found that I was always around them playing football and having conversations with them, which I did. And I started opening up Duncan Street facility for Sister Roberta, then Sister Ethna Reagan. For those who may remember Sister Ethna Reagan, she used to be one of the persons teaching theology up at Mount St. Benedict. And Sister Juliet Raja, who was now coming into the nunnery. And I started opening up the Duncan Street Center for them to use, and I got involved in terms of helping to settle the boys in them, because they were quite challenging for the sisters. The young men and them were really, really, really hardcore, chronic street users, street dwellers, as we say. And those young men, as I say, were really challenging for the females. So I got involved in terms of settling them. And that went on from time to time until Sister Roberta told me that they got a building on Nelson Street. But it was a 9-to-5 program. We had our night shelter up at Marian House. So Marian House have their own program, but the night shelter in the back, they opened up that way. The boys would come up after 5 in the afternoon to be a part of sleeping over and go back down to CREDO for 9 o'clock the next morning. So that happened around 96, 97, so the early part of of CREDO opening their doors to the young men. Um, my involvement with the young men was really one that I really wanted to be a part of their lives, because you realize their mindset was only about crime and violence, because of those influence that had their minds out there to want to go down that road. And that is why I'm here today, still trying to channel that course with other members of CREDO to keep them grounded and to teach them that life skills, as Ms. Dale said, to help them to be the young men that's supposed to be in society today.
Thank God for that. And you know, well, Alwin, we know you personally, and you started this ministry when you were young and unmarried, but you're married with children of your own, big young men. And you know, how do you balance the two? Because you're busy, busy, busy.
Well, because of a lot of training, I must give kudos to both CREDO and Living Water community for that training and development, because I started Living Water when I was around 18, 19 years. And I think just actually working amongst the people, I mean, say, the Archbishop of the day, being a priest, he was my spiritual director, then passing through other hands of the strong men of Living Water community, the Ian Camacho and all those other persons who really helped develop me as a young man. They were great examples to me. So I knew how to create balance, and still trying to work amongst creating balance, because sometimes so many things. Like this morning, I'm having a conversation with somebody where long ago they used to say, "Alwin, boy, you're always late, boy, you're always late," and I understand why now, after all these years, was because I couldn't say no. I wanted to do so many things. Everybody who asked me to do something, I said yes, because I looked at the time and I felt like if I could do this and do that, and yes, I could push this one in and push that. And actually, it was stretching me. So you learn over the years when to say yes, when to say no, because you must be able to do everything and be comfortable. And sometimes, when you say no to some people, they don't take it nicely at all. But I learned over the years how to create that balance and to put things into perspective, to strike that balance in your life, and work and being home.
Thank you so much. Well, Alwin, you really are a very real person, and it's so nice to hear you share all of that. Just for our viewers, I would like to say that when Alwin refers to Marian House, that is a ministry of the Living Water community, where we too have in residence young men that we work with. And I think maybe now we should go to Ms. Anne-Marie Rodriguez, who is the coordinator. And as we introduce Ms. Rodriguez, I'll put this out there, because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But if any of you can think of any success stories that you would like to share with us, when I come to you again, maybe you could share there's one or two young people who you have seen really make it in society, or maybe they're married with families of their own now. We would love to hear that. So, Ms. Anne-Marie Rodriguez, coordinator of the CREDO Foundation, welcome, welcome. What do you have to add to what we have heard? What is your position there? What do you do every day?
Pleasant good morning to everyone and to all of the viewers. So, I started in CREDO Foundation for Justice in early 2019. But before that, I was a teacher at Servo Junior Life, where I met Ms. Dale, and I had known Sister Roberta for many, many years, because I did preschool teaching and Sister Roberta was my lecturer. When I met Ms. Dale, I think we started, it was like, bang, we hit it off together. And I met her because some of her boys at CREDO and the girls would have come to me in junior life. After that, I was asked if I can do volunteer at giving lessons at the CREDO Boys Foundation. And I said yes, because my thing is that I love children and I love what I do. So I started at CREDO giving lessons to the standard 4s and 5s and even the lower standard, the lower classes. However, COVID came along and of course, you know, everything shut down, so that was it. And something happened again. It was fortunate that I went to do a service of which I accustomed doing every year to carry things for the boys. And I heard they wanted a tutor up at Sophia House. Coming out of CREDO after I did that, I saw Miss Dale coming in and I said, Miss, are you looking for a tutor for the girls? And she said, yes, Miss. She said, okay, Miss, send in your resume. And I said, okay, I will. And that is how I happened to come to Sophia House. I came as a tutor to assist the girls during the COVID with their SEA and CSEC schooling. Well, one thing into another, and I grew to like the girls. I mean, you have the little ups and downs, but I grew to love them eventually. And the coordinator before, Miss Beverly John, you know, she started showing me things. And, you know, I'm asking myself, but why is Miss Beverly showing me all of this when I'm only a tutor? But God moves in mysterious ways. And when Miss Beverly John decided to leave, she asked me if I would take the position. And I said, why are you asking me that, not knowing what she was about to do? So my point in time for my tutoring was almost up, and I went to Miss Dale and I said, Miss, am I leaving Friday or am I going till Monday? And there and then she said to me, she said, Miss, can you hold a position as coordinator, you know, until such time? And I said, okay, Miss, not a problem. Because I already know the girls, I knew everything about them, you know, and for me, children, you know, that's it. So I am here as coordinator of Sophia House. As Miss said, we look at development of children and we push the academics. And I think that is I push the academics. Yes, we do the life skills. And the life skills is to help them to learn everything about life and what they have to do when they leave us. Our girls come from the ages of 10 to when they leave us at 18. So we literally teach them everything. We are their parents. We love them, we share everything with them. You know, when it's time to really let them know, look, you're doing something wrong, we do that too. But it's all with love. You know, this house was built as a family home. If we're a family here, the staff, myself, and all our girls, they are our children. So that is how I became the coordinator of Sophia House.
Well, wonderful. Congratulations on that. And may you continue to coordinate and to do the wonderful work that you're doing with good health and strength and courage.
Thank you very much.
Well, to know that all of you are making a difference in our society here in Trinidad and Tobago. And let's go back to Miss Dale Bartholomew again, and we will come back to you, to Anne-Marie and to Alwin. Dale, what happens to these young people now when they have to leave you at 17 or 18 years old?
So we embark as an organization on a transitional program. That transitional program, it's not only the organization, but we also have the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, their various officers who come in, their CSA rep, the children's may have their social worker and our social worker, and we work together on that transitional plan. So that plan will involve the family, once there's family around to be involved in, and it takes approximately 2.5 to 3 years time because suitability tests must be done, visits to the family's home has to be conducted, reports have to be submitted back to the court. For those persons who unfortunately do not have that family support when they leave us, we look for like-minded organizations. So that's why you'll hear us speaking about Marian House and even Josephine Shaw to get the girls and boys transitioned across into their program and living facilities. Because the intention is to make them become independent and become self-sufficient. So even within that period of time, we have young persons that we would look to get involved in OJTs, in whatever ministry, persons who are involved in cooking, we look to get them involved in civil and get them across to hospitality. So at least in that way, they will also be able to get a stipend to continue their studies. The unfortunate thing is that because of restrictions, we had to close down our 2 transitional centers, which would have been Aylward and Rua. And we closed those in January of 2017. So we were no longer able to continue with our internal transitional programs. So really and truly, we had 5 centers going, but now, as I said, we're down to 3, which is CREDO, Boys Center, Sophia House, and then we have the drop-in center, which is more internal. They don't sleep at the center, so they come, they access any sort of programs we have, and then the children would leave and go back to their parents.
Do you hope that in the future you may be able to reopen the transitional centers, or would that just be too much?
It will definitely be a dream of ours because we know the benefits, and Alwin will attest to this. We know the benefits of having our transitional centers. It's a different program we create for the young persons because in reality, not all young persons get it by the time they reach 18, 19. Some of them need a little more time to be here and be guided until they're about 20, 21, 22. Because if you ask them, okay, what do you want to do right now? They will tell you work. But we know that the type of work that they may want to get involved in, it's not going to be sustainable. So our focus is usually on education, at least getting them involved in some sort of life skill, excuse me. And even the life skill can be, as I said, when they attend Serval, learning a skill so you can become self-sufficient. We've had success stories of young persons going on to university, running their own businesses. We have one young person who is actually going to be graduating this year from nursing. We have other young persons who are working at the bank, working at the credit unions. You have the successes, and you would have, Mr. Alwin will be able to tell you about other persons that he would have encountered in the early days who meet him now and tell him, hi, sir, I have my family, I have my children, I'm working here, there, and everywhere else. We have had persons who have migrated. Unfortunately, we also have those who did go down the wrong path and they are no longer here with us. But it is always a challenge. It is not to come in and try and change anyone, but it's to give them the necessary skills now for them to make the right decisions in their life.
Amen to that. And you talk about the young people in your care who are 18 and 19 and still don't know what they want to do with life. And we are all very aware of young people who are part of a biological family with a mother and a father, and they still, even in that setting, sometimes don't know what they want to do. So that is normal. Yes. Okay, so this is for you, Anne-Marie, just asking if you would like to share any success story or some of the impact that you feel your ministry has made on any young girl's life. So this is directed to Anne-Marie Rodriguez.
Okay, so yes, I know I'm new to it, but I have met some of the young ladies, and I still have some of them here with me, that on the very first time I came in, they were so aggressive and all of that. And I think by me just talking to them, telling them that I love them, I saw the changes. I saw where they were, you know, speaking nicely. I saw that change in them. April is one of our young ladies. She left just the year before I came in. But I met April. She's a beautiful, intelligent young lady. And she is the one graduating next month from nursing.
Okay.
So yes, we have ours. Even when I came in with the CXC and SEA, I saw the results because I told them, I said, I am an A person and you all are going to do it. And just giving them that encouragement, I was able to see where we got the schools, you know, like Providence or Southeast, we got Tranquility. And even our girls who wrote CXC, they got their 5 and 7 O levels. So
fantastic.
We are doing something very positive with these young people.
Great, thank you.
So that is just my intake on the
impact you've had. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry that we couldn't get back to Alwin. That's a pity. Well, thank you to Dale Bartholomew, Anne-Marie Rodriguez, and Alwin Hunte for joining us on this edition of Pathos. And to you, all of you there viewing, we thank you for joining us, and I hope that this program has given you a little more hope for our country and for the world to know that ministries like this, organizations like this, are doing the work, they are touching the lives of our young people and making a difference. And that's what we will be doing on this program going forward, letting you know that there are people out there who care and are doing the work of God here, partnering with God and helping young people to come to a better place. Thank you and God bless. See you next week.